Okay. Is it
Okay.
recording? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Technology. You think we would be better at it, but we're not. Um, let's see here. All right. Let's start the good old timer. Can you see the timer? Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
I can see it.
Nice. It shows up backwards on my screen, which is kind of funny.
Okay.
Um, so key concepts that have, and oh, we have to say who we are. I forgot. I'm Danya.
I'm Maria.
And we are the
And
Brady Bunch. No, just kidding. Uh, let's see. Okay, so discuss key concepts that have impacted your understanding of the projects completed in this class. Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
I can go first. My tongue twist a little bit, but I can go first. Okay. So the key concepts that we have talked about basically, hold on, I have background noise. Give me a second.
That's okay. No problem.
Okay, that's embarrassing. All right. So the key concepts that we have discussed in the class, I enjoyed doing the sketches for our thesis, creating different um brands and logos and sort of having everything that we have wrote about tie into our logos. Um that was an issue that I had at first, not knowing what to do, but sort of clicking, what I should be doing and what can be done and having all these different ideas to associate on the brand and the logo that I want to show. So that's something that was challenging but fun.
Hmm.
Um,
So is that
and it
something?
also,
Oh, sorry. I had a
go
question.
ahead.
Is that something you've
Mhm.
done before? Is this like, have you done logo design before? Or is it something
I
that's,
have, I have, but they have always been stuff that was given to me.
I say, okay.
Like I wasn't able to do it on my own like I'm doing right now. So pretty much doing it on my own is like a breath of fresh air because I get to use my own sketches and brainstorm my own ideas instead of being told what to do. Um, yeah, that's what I liked about it. Um,
So
it says,
when you say you were told
go
what
ahead.
to do, what did they were like, we want you to make this very specific thing, or like how did they approach it?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah, they were like
they
draw
would
and like
literally, yeah, they
okay.
will give us like a piece of paper and say, we want you to do this, this, and this, draw it, make it perfect. And this is when it's due. This is what it needs to look like, X, Y, and Z. So that's what I'm used to. So when we were told that we had to do a thesis statement by creating our own name and shapes and colors and everything, I was excited because I never, you know, done that before. The nerve-wracking part is presenting it to you guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's the nerve-wracking part.
Yeah.
And also the self-evaluation. That's also nerve-wracking for me because I'm critiquing my own work before you all see it.
Right.
So
Right.
I'm sort of just like ripping it to shreds, basically.
Yeah. Yeah, which is pretty normal. And were you doing that for clients or were you doing that for academic
I
reasons?
was doing it academically
Okay.
a couple of years ago. Yeah.
And is logo something you're interested in doing, pursuing with like working with clients or?
Yes, I do. I did a couple of logos. Like one of my friends, he cuts hair.
Hmm.
So I did his logo for his shop.
Cool.
And then I did a painting on top of that. with him. And that was fun to do. But again, it was something of what he wanted.
Mm,
Like he already had the idea of what he wanted, and I just had to just basically bring it to life.
hmm.
Um,
It's interesting. Yeah. So I've worked with a few clients doing logos and I've had like kind of both experiences. What you're talking about is where like someone will come to me and be like, I have absolutely no idea what I want, but I kind of want these things. And then having to go through like a entirely rebranding process with them. And then also with someone who like has come to me and said, like, I kind of want this, but like they need my advice on whether or not something's going to look right and what I, think professionally that, how we could approach it. So it still ends up being a conversation, but it's less so. It's more about like, putting it on a page. And it's so interesting as a designer. I feel sometimes really I have difficult feelings around just doing exactly what somebody else wants me to do, even if they're paying me. Um,
yeah.
because I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know. Am I supposed to be doing that? Am I supposed to be that designer that's just being like a pixel pusher basically and like getting paid for it? Or, it's a hard concept. But
It's weird trying to do stuff that other people want you to do when you're like a designer. You have all these ideas swirling in your head on what you could do, and
right.
it's hard to stick with what they bring you.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, of course. Yeah. It definitely yeah, it's a hard thing to deal with. I mean, I really do want to do what my clients want, and I ultimately try to make sure that they know that my feelings are not hurt if they say they don't like something.
yeah,
I feel like there's such a big difference between art and design, and a lot of people are really not sure of how to approach that because they're just like, we want your creativity and your artist abilities. And I'm like, yeah, but I'm not an artist right now. This is design problem. This is not
yeah,
art. Like it's all about logic and how I can specifically put things in specific places that make sense for your business. So
right.
it's a very different process, which I find interesting. Is there anything else before I mention my key?
Um, it says, how has learning the material helped you better understand? Ooh,
Oh,
it's
where are you going? What are you?
is that for number one under the
Okay, yeah.
um learning the different materials. Um, well, materials like when we sketched out our, well, did you do yours on your tablet?
I did,
I
yeah.
did my sketchbook
Yeah,
because that was more my domain.
yeah, it's definitely
And yeah, it was because I hadn't took out a sketchbook in probably 4 or 5 years. So that was like I was excited. Like I was like a little kid in the candy store taking out um my box of different pencils and my sketchbook, and I'm just like I can't wait to add color to this for the next week and
yeah,
make it bigger, show more details because I felt like in the sketch I couldn't show as much detail
yeah,
because we had a limit on how many. So that was fun.
yeah,
How would it help me in the future as a designer? Basic answer, I get to show more creativity. That is the only answer I can come up with. Um, Creativity is everything while designing. Just put it on paper. Anything that came to my mind, it was on those sketches. Yeah.
yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah. So for me, really my big takeaway was is that I always forget. Well, I don't really show process because I work a lot in drawing on my tablet or my iPad. I like tend to, I erase my process so often. So that was actually a big challenge for me was to try to remind myself to like duplicate something in the middle of something so then I can like show that as a process instead of just continuing to work on it. And I also like I refine a lot. So even if I'm not erasing, I'm still like creating it again over and over. And I mean, I think you do that with even on paper, like you do that.
Yeah.
So like,
Yeah.
but it's just a really hard thing for me to think about when I'm in like in my own personal process to show that like as it goes on. It's a
Mhm.
so that was an interesting thing for me is like to figure out okay how to do this. And my dog making weird noises back there. Um yeah, so that was a big part of this. I also really liked the refinement process of it and kind of looking at, okay, I'm picking this, I'm picking that. And I do self-evaluate already. And so it didn't scare me because I was like, I'm already doing this in my head or like without just saying it out loud. And um it's the biggest thing for me when I do self-evaluations though is to walk away and come back because I
Yeah.
can't I can't just keep staring at it. Like, and it's so hard for me to do that. And I do think that this course had a lot of reminders about like, okay, get up out of your chair, take a walk, and then come back because like your eyes just get so focused on something that you can't see anything else. And it's like, um, so that was definitely a good reminder of being like, okay, gotta like not just stare at it for 15 hours. Like and move one thing back and forth over and over. Like, take a break, Danya, take a break. Like,
Now, does this happen to you? Like when you walk away, another idea pops up in your head? Because I know that happens with me. As
it
soon as I
does.
walk away from it, there's an idea. I have to go back and sketch it out and be like, oh, what about this?
Yeah.
So,
For me, though, it always happens after I send it to a client. I feel like
oh,
it's always the worst because I'm like, no. And I'll like either send them a second email and be like, no, I just want to do this one last thing. Or like,
yeah,
which is such bad practice. And so like I need to like figure out a better way, whether or not it's like sending it to like a fake client and then looking at it again in a different way. Because I don't know why, but like after I send it to them and then I go back and look at it, I'm always like, oh, I could do this and that and this. And then I'm like, I should have done that in the first place. Like, this is not, again, it's not very good form to be sending multiple emails of like different drafts. Um,
yeah.
but it's,
But you're still learning though, so it's
yeah,
okay.
yeah. And
Mhm.
everyone I'm working with is so patient with me, which I appreciate, but um, yeah, it's definitely a process for sure. And I mean, this is, this is really cool to see how somebody else would prompt you to make a logo. Um, and that kind of like goes into our next question, but like what I was thinking about that. But it's yeah, it's an interesting thing. And I mean for you, like are you going to how are you going to do it digitally? Are you going to paint it and then import it? Or are you going to, because you're like more tactile sometimes.
Yeah, that's gonna be the thing. And I have this brand new tablet sitting here, and I have not used it since the class before the last one. So
Okay.
I'm
Yeah.
gonna try to do it on the tablet,
Mhm.
but that's gonna be a challenge because, like you said, I'm so used to actually drawing things. So,
Yeah, if you
well,
could like I would just do some research on different like paint brushes within Illustrator and
okay.
figure out if you can get like the type of I don't know what type of paint you usually use, but like you could probably get different paint brushes that like mimic it in a
Hmm.
way. I'm sure it takes a little bit of time to figure out. I always use Procreate when I'm drawing.
Yeah, I have Procreate on my iPad.
It they have a lot of great brushes and also they have a ton on Etsy for really cheap. It's so weird,
Hmm.
but like you can go on there and get there's a bunch of creators that make other brushes for Procreate. So that
I
also
just
is an option for you.
I just wish I can put it on the XP Pen tablet. Like that's my only thing. Like I wish I could put it on the Procreate on the tablet that I got
Yeah, I
and
don't
not just on my iPad.
yeah, I don't think you can. I don't
Mm-mm.
think they have it for desktop yet.
No, it's only like you plug it the HDMI cord and just go from there. And that's the part I'm having issues with.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you can draw an Illustrator with the tablet. Like I have an XP pen too, but it's and I like it a lot for using it for like tracing and certain forms of drawing in Illustrator, but if I'm doing more like freehand stuff, then I lean towards just using Procreate. And I like that it comes out, it's actually a vector file, so it's like it's very clean when you're done with it. So
Yeah.
um as long as you make it large enough. So it's a weird, it's a hard thing, like because you have like, you know, your iPad and your tablet and all these things, and like which one do you use with what? Like, and yeah, and then I go in and refine it with the Illustrator. I always refine it with Illustrator. It's like, I don't know. I'm an Illustrator gal. It's like I don't really like InDesign that much. I don't know why, but I just
Or maybe I could be asking you questions about Illustrator because I like InDesign a little bit more. I just play with InDesign though.
yeah,
I play with InDesign and Photoshop.
yeah,
So
yeah. I've definitely played with both, but for some reason, Illustrator is the one. Hi, Alfred. Hello, sir. Um,
hot.
what are you doing?
He wants to be a part of the discussion.
Yeah, he wants my attention. So discuss the challenges encountered while completing your brand project in this course. And so, um, I was not, so what I was just saying a minute ago is like they also say like what have you learned in this process? And I don't know if I had a lot of huge challenges that I like felt like I had to overcome, except for the fact of like learning a different style of how somebody else would want me to create something through their process and being able to showcase that. I mean, I'm pretty good at talking about why things are supposed to be the way that they are or like what they represent. Um, I do think that sometimes I go a little far in. There's like like I'll find too much symbolism in like tiny things that like don't make any sense from for anyone else. And I'm like, this is perfect because you know the stars were aligned and they had this, you know, thing happening on that specific date. And then like it's like no one is ever going to know that. Like what is wrong with you? I did a logo recently and that's what I did. I was like, it was a supernova in 2024 and like here's the star pattern and this is why this is like in the logo. And I was like, this is terrible. I don't know where I'm going with this. Um, but yeah, so that's I have to like make sure that I'm reining myself in on that. So it was an interesting process for me in that sense. That was the challenge for me. Reining it in, right, Alfred? You are hyper right now. What was your challenges?
Oh, I've had, I always have challenges when it comes to these things. One of them is always that my mind is always on the go when it comes to, because I don't know if I told you, I had to redo my entire brand thing. So instead of back on track, I
Yeah.
changed it to another name.
What's the new name?
The new name is, oh, what is it? I just got a thing that popped up and said my thing is going to end in 10 minutes.
Oh, weird.
Yeah, right. I
That
should have,
yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Why would it end?
I don't know.
Mine's not.
Um,
You can just come back on the same link.
okay. And I might just do that.
Yeah,
I'm
just
sorry.
no, don't be sorry. Just come back on the same link when it kicks you off. That's weird. Usually
Uh,
it's not supposed to.
yeah. I think it's because when I set the time, I set it to only an hour. Um, but yeah, so I'll tell you it in a second. I'm gonna bring it up. Stuff is slow. My new name is Junior Tribe.
Oh, I saw,
And
yes. I like that more.
thank you. And
Yeah,
that was the hard part, trying to come up with a new name,
yeah.
something that fit what was given to us last month. So that took a lot of brainstorming. My mind was constantly on the go. And I said, okay, I'm gonna write down 5 names And what I don't like, I'm scrapping it. And what I do like, this is what it's going to be.
Hmm.
So I came up with Your Tribe. And the fun part was creating the logo. Like, what do I want and what goes better with, the brand and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Another challenge I had, believe it or not, was the sketching part because I always feel like my sketches are not what they should be,
Yeah.
but I tried.
I mean,
So,
I had that too. I had to just like, just move on. You just have to move on. You know,
right.
what did
Like, I
you
can't just sit there and keep erasing and erasing and erasing. I have to continue on. I created my 30 sketches all over again.
Oh, you
And
did.
then, yeah, and then did six more that went along with last week's assignment.
Okay. Yep.
So,
Yep. So you're
oh,
just still getting it all out. Yeah.
yeah,
Yep.
that was the hard part.
It is super hard to just kind of like let go of that and be like, okay, I'm just gonna like unabashedly put this down on a piece of paper and not worry about who sees it and what they think about it because it's like I need
Yeah,
my brain and then once it's refined, then it will look much better. And um,
yeah.
but I feel like my sketches make no sense to other people.
I thought they did from what I saw.
Okay. I don't know, but in my mind, I'm like, no one's gonna understand
And plus, the subject that you picked is something that I would be terrified to do.
Mm,
Like, I loved what you
okay.
picked, and I was like, I love it. She's going for it. That's something I'll be scared to do.
Yeah, I
But
mean,
it lined up with the topic.
yeah,
So,
for sure. I mean, like it's an interesting project because I have to be very careful on what I do because it's in an academic setting. So I can't just go to the extreme of like where like, a sex toy company could just do like a weird banana or like, something like very, very
you have to
odd.
be like as subtle as possible with that. Like,
Yes. I mean, but you can't do that in this scenario. So I had to think of something that was a little bit more creative. But I do honestly think that higher end sex toy companies that I've seen, like most of them don't have that like very overly explicit logo to begin with. Most of them are just typography because they want to be discreet and they don't want people to like be put off by it. And if it's too gimmicky, it's like
yeah,
more like in the like bachelorette party kind of realm. It's like, candy necklaces and stuff like that instead of like actual like things for adult humans. What are you doing?
I know two brands that do sex toys. One is Spencer's and one is Priscilla's. And from the look of their logo, you would never think that that's what they do, even though Priscilla's has the sign of lingerie and whatever else.
Oh, okay.
But you wouldn't know because it's a typography logo.
Right.
Like Spencer's is more of a in your face, animated, pops out, while Priscilla's is more subtle.
Right.
Like you never know until you walk in their store and they ask for your ID.
Right. Right.
Like, but I thought what you had was
Well,
a
thank
great
you.
topic.
I guess
Definitely out there.
that was definitely my challenge. Like not not just being overly honest, overly like obvious and punny is what I'm trying to avoid, because
Yeah,
so many ways I could do that that would be really funny and super fun, but like that's not the vibe we're going for. So,
yeah,
and it will be interesting. It's going to continue to be a challenge, is like visually, and I'm trying to use like a lot of plants as like representation with different things, and um, it will be a fun and interesting thing to like kind of take photos and do that with as we build more assets. And I have a really big garden, so I'm hoping that I can actually take some of my own
uh,
photos out in my garden. Um,
yeah.
but I mean, it's also hard for, and I'm sure you're experiencing this too, is like, how do you represent diversity? And Dr. Argo is talking about that a lot. And So,
Yeah.
like even in your logo or like in your assets, like making sure you're not just showcasing, like, I could take pictures of myself, but then it's just going to be this white girl from New Hampshire over and over again instead of like having diversity and, gender and color and all these things that like I'm just leaving everyone out basically by doing that. Um, so it's a hard thing, and especially, I mean, I'm sure with the teens too, you want to
Yeah.
with that.
But that's why I use the text bubbles. Because
Yeah,
in my mind, I'm like, you can't get any more diverse talking about teenagers than text bubbles
right,
to
right.
me.
They all do
So
it.
yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. So
there's no
that was like, there's no in and out of it. Like they all text. They know what that is.
right, right.
So
And I like the word tribe. I feel like that is a better description.
yeah.
And it makes it sound like a fun, like, group of, people hanging out versus like what was the other one? Like right on
It's like
track.
an after school program thing. And I was
Yeah.
like, no, like Tribe, I focused on a sense of community that teenagers need.
Yeah.
Like that was the main focus of it. Because teenagers, like we were teenagers, we didn't know what the heck we were doing. We all needed somebody
We thought we
there.
did.
I'm 30 and I think about it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's an interesting one. Did you change your business model too for your projects, or did you
I
just
would have, I feel like I would have to, but I feel like it's the same.
yeah,
Just reaching teenagers, showing them support. I
right,
don't feel like that changed from the first one.
right, right. So yeah, so you're keeping the same like onlyness statement and everything. Yeah,
Yes.
that makes sense to
Just
me.
taking out the academic part and stuff like that.
I think that's a great idea. And I mean, I think like, yeah, kind of making it something that they all can relate to makes a lot
Yeah.
of sense. Um, so I'm glad you went in that direction, but I'm sure that was a difficult decision, going through that process.
Look, a lot of tears and a lot of crying, and I was like, I don't know what to do.
Hard. It's really hard working with, creating a brand and working with the brands and um
Yeah.
it's it's a lot of fun though. I really like that. Alfred. What I don't like is you right now. You're being silly. Oh goodness. All right. I swear he thinks I'm talking to him when I'm talking at the computer. So then he like does this. He's like, "All right, we're talking. We're hanging out. Okay." I'm like, "No, Alfred. It's not about you all the time. Only
No.
most of the time." Um, yeah, no, it's definitely, oops, that's my laundry. It's definitely something that is interesting is like you can't change the name of a business when you're taking on a client, or you can't change like their
Hey, got it.
yeah, we're back.
We were having technical difficulties. But we're back now.
We're back. We're here. Um, so the next question is talking about a brand that we didn't discuss in the course and compare it to a design concept from this month's case study. Did you find a brand that you were thinking?
Um, I think the brand that I will always love and use as an example is Disney.
Hmm.
Their brand is universal. It's something that is they knew their target audience, but I liked how it has ventured into being noticed by adults.
Hmm.
If that makes sense, like adults love Disney just as much, if not more than what the kids do.
Yeah, yeah, I know. That's crazy. It's so funny.
So like I will use my Disney Plus forever. I would always want to go to Disney World. Like Disney is just that universal language, I guess to say. Their logo is also to me very to use his signature as the logo, I feel like is a brilliant idea.
Mhm, mhm,
Something I don't think you usually see with the logo. You don't see a signature and be like, oh, I know who that is, or I know what they do for that business.
mhm.
That's not Disney. So
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, I think that Disney feeds a lot off nostalgia. So
yeah.
they kind of like poke at your nostalgia button as much as they possibly can. And it is interesting to use a signature as a logo. The one thing I think about, which is such a funny thing, is fraud. Like you think about like there are some times when I've worked with clients that have been like, "Do you want to put your signature on here? Like I can make it digitally rendered." And they're like, "Well, no, I don't want people to like steal my signature so they can like potentially use it on like other stuff." And like they always feel very uncomfortable about it. Like,
Yeah.
um, so I mean, for Disney to do that, like, do you think that's his real, like, actual signature that he was signed paperwork with, or do you think it's his signature that he specifically made for that logo? And that is a question to me.
I really think it's his signature that he made for the logo.
Yeah, yeah,
I really do
probably.
because well, for me, I can only speak for myself. When I sign into work, it's a whole different type of handwriting than when I'm signing a document or I'm signing a form.
Oh,
It's just completely different.
you got like a thumbs up, random thumbs
Oh,
up. Oh,
my
wow.
goodness.
Well, that was crazy. I did not know that it would do that. Okay.
And Disney fireworks in here.
Yeah, it's because they're doing it. Um,
Um,
anyway, we have weird things going on during this call. I'm trying to look up the logo so I can see it while we talk about it. I'm
because
curious.
I know when I sign things, it's different. Like, especially if you're in a rush or when you're taking your time, your handwriting shows that.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I mean it's using a pretty thick pen too. Uh,
Yeah. Mhm.
so yeah, because I mean I would be nervous if I was Walt. I mean, he's passed away now, but like still like obviously no one's gonna fraud any of his documents at this point. But when he was alive, that someone would steal your signature and sign it
Yeah.
on something or I mean, it's obviously it is going to look different because this is very it's you can tell that they spent time on making sure that the lines were specific thicknesses and very specific to the characters, which is
Do
interesting.
do you remember the Alexander Gerard? Did I say that right? The
Yeah.
signature. Were you in that class?
Yes. Yeah. Yep. We
I
did that.
remember we had to redo that, and it was fun, but it was so hard.
It was hard. It was really, I actually really loved that. I love that kind of like small scale, meticulous things. So that, if you had your tablet when you did that, you would have found it a lot easier.
Okay.
Because I did mine with my tablet and it was, I think that I was like, I don't know how everyone else is doing this, to be honest. Um,
Yeah, I used my little mouse that was on the MacBook, and I was like, this is taking forever. I wish
you,
I was doing this on my tablet.
you use your trackpad on your,
Yeah, like,
oh my God.
I yeah, I
Yikes.
I was like, I wish I was doing this on my iPad. I wish I had the tablet when I did, because me using that,
Yikes. I could not use a trackpad while doing that. And my hand would like cramp up and die. Just
oh, it did multiple times.
um digress. Yeah, I have this like crazy mouse. Have you ever seen these?
I have, and I feel like I want one, but I'm not trying to pay a whole lot of money for it. But I have seen those.
It wasn't that much. It was like this one was like $50, but you can get them on Amazon for like $20. There's ones that are cheaper. I liked this one that has the ball on the side, so I can actually move the screen on like left and right as well as like up and down. So I can
Okay.
kind of go across doc or like files. Um,
Okay.
and it does take like a good week, solid week to get used to it. But then once you're used to it, it's like I can't go back to a normal mouse.
Is it Bluetooth? Like I can hook it up to my
Yeah.
MacBooks?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is Bluetooth and also it's a USB and it's does like
That's what I meant. I meant the USB.
yeah, they this one has like all of the different options and it also has the DPI, which is like how fast your mouse moves. Um,
Hmm.
which I think is helpful. Like it gives you like that drag if you want the drag. Um,
Yeah.
but I I love it. I mean, as I said, they have like a million different um brands and stuff on Amazon. I just really liked this one. But I could not use just such my I would literally like cramp up and
My
die.
hand was like this, like
So
just it was bad.
we're
But I
digressing from this, but I think it's an important conversation about health and safety, you know. Don't use your trackpad. Um
mm-mm, I do
gosh,
not recommend it.
no way. So the logos that I was thinking or the rebranding basically that I was thinking about was Facebook and Meta. So Facebook moved
My
into
gosh,
being
yeah.
Meta. Yeah. So I mean it's such a brilliant rebrand because they, took over Instagram and they like building this whole like metaverse. And the word meta has so much of
I
that
mean,
kind of meaning behind it that like people already know it. And so it was an interesting thing because they went from just being this one company to being like this conglomerate company, even though they already were there, but they had to showcase that with having their logo.
yeah.
Um, and their logo is very simple, like Meta's logo is very simple and very easy to manipulate and slightly make a change to it. And so people use it a lot to send spam messages to people and tell them that they're like, I probably like twice a day I get a message from someone who has a very similar logo to Meta that's saying that they're Meta, telling me that my account is going to be discontinued. And so like that happens to my business page all the time, which is super weird. So like it's an interesting thing that like they have this logo that's like really simple, really easy, but for like a platform where a lot of hackers hang out, it's not,
Yeah.
it's like one of those things where I'm like, okay. Um, and yeah, and then their typeface changed too when they changed over.
Yeah.
I found a bunch of, I'll show you.
Mhm.
Show my screen. I found this article about like a bunch of different logos that had changed. Burger King um changed their logo, be a lot cleaner. Yeah, and so like it's interesting. Planters, um, GM.
I
Yeah,
didn't know about that.
I didn't even know that either.
I like the old one better.
I do too. I yeah, I don't know. I think it says that they are trying to be more electric and digital and like represent that, which makes sense with this logo. It definitely like, but there's still cars and it's still like a tactile thing. I don't know. It just seems strange to me.
Even the
The
CIA.
CIA.
I can't even take I can't I don't know. Can I even say I could take that logo seriously now? Like,
I mean, I kind of like it, but it's also, yeah, I really dislike this one. I think it's way too much going on. So
mm,
I do like this one a lot. The background I'm unsure about, and I don't know if that's just like this image and what it's printed on, but
mm,
it's it's an interesting change. Look like you literally paid a 10-year-old to create your logo in clip art. Instead, you get to look at an underground techno night in Williamsburg basement. It's a perfect front. That is hilarious. That's a great way to describe it. Um, yeah, this is a little busy for my tastes. That's nice. That's a nice change.
I like that one.
Yeah.
Sweet green. Hmm.
Pretty similar, except for the letters being.
Discord.
I couldn't even I like for a second there, I was like, what is even different? I see though. I see it
Is
now.
Discord, does that have anything to do with video games? Because
No,
it sounds
Discord,
good.
it's like a platform for like it's almost like Slack. Um,
Okay.
it's for communication.
Okay.
Paramount.
Paramount definitely changed it.
Magnum.
I didn't even notice they changed their logo. Okay.
So I had the I was like, is this Magnum condoms and why is there ice cream on it?
Tanya.
Because it's
Oh my
gold. And
God.
I was like, wait a minute. And it's like round and it says Magnums on it. Like it does kind of look like that packaging. And I was like, that's weird. It's
Chocolate ice cream.
chocolate condoms, apparently. There we go. Okay. Transfer wise. Yeah, I like that more. Coconut Bliss. Ooh, that's much better packaging. Much cleaner.
Mhm.
I like
Yes,
that.
I like that one new one better.
Yeah,
Volvo. Okay.
it's definitely cleaner.
So do you have this thing like when like a commercial comes on and you notice they changed their logo? Can you notice it right away or no?
Um, Sometimes it depends. I think it depends on how familiar I am with the brand. Like something like Hotjar. I don't even know what Hotjar does. Um, I don't know what their company is. I wouldn't pick up on that.
Yeah.
Uh, but like ABC, I mean, this is like a tiny change. I mean, like it's not shiny and the circle's a little larger and the text is a little smaller. Like that's about it.
Yeah.
Um, I probably wouldn't like recognize that as a change in their logo or like rebranding. I would think it to be like the same logo just used differently.
Yeah.
Um
And some of these
yeah.
changes are not as a major and big.
No, like this is just color
Yeah.
change, which is interesting. And I mean Jot Form, yeah, that I do like this icon a lot more than the pencil. I think
Mhm.
it's a lot more interesting. Oxford. Yeah, this is a nicer one for sure. It just seems like it's just like paring it down, paring it down, paring it down. And
Yeah.
like so difficult to do that. Um,
Gotta make it as simple as possible, and that's hard.
it is
Like,
really hard. It's super hard. Yeah, I look at this, I did this logo for an insurance company and they they wanted a really simple logo and it took us like 6 months to figure it out. Like it was really hard to do it. And I look at it and I'm like, well, that's easy, like now in my mind. I'm like, why did that take us so long? But it was really difficult to kind of like just, okay, how do we represent this in the easiest, quietest way that like is simple and recognizable and yeah, it was hard. It was super hard to figure it out. Because we were like, we can put all these icons everywhere, and that's how we started, right? And it was just like a pile of crap. And we're like, okay, we'll have to fix this. Um, okay, so this is as a design team using concept for the class, brainstorm a possible logo for our group name.
the storm. So we can't use the X-Men because that's copywriting. Um,
Good call.
um, But we can definitely use, okay, so storms. Instead of using storms from the X-Men, we can just rain, cloud, thunder, lightning, a lot of rain, just and then put the storms in the cloud, maybe.
Yeah, I was thinking that and I was like, well, is that too obvious?
Yeah.
Is that like an obvious thing? Like how can we take the text and make it have a storm in it?
The lightning bolt be like in like when you put, I don't know, like where it says storms S and then use the T as a lightning bolt.
Ooh, yeah, we could try to do that. Yeah, use the T, just storm in it.
Yeah.
I wish there was more context on what it actually was supposed to represent. I don't. I guess what are we representing here? What is it storming?
Well, I know what he picked. He literally picked the names from X-Men.
Right, right.
So it's like,
Let's see, a storm from X-Men.
are we all Professor Xavier students? Like,
Yes, yes, we are. I just wish that I knew what my superpower was. Uh,
right.
okay, Storm from X-Men. Let's look at her. She's pretty badass.
Oh, she's the coolest person ever.
Yeah,
I love her. Like, I want to cosplay as her one day.
you should. You'd make a good Storm. Um, well, she has those white eyes. Like I feel like representing that in some way. The lightning and the coming out of those. And she doesn't have white eyes in all of them. Does she have it normally?
Only when she activates her powers.
Oh, okay. I see. That makes
It's
sense.
not like she's walking around all day with white eyes. Like if she's talking, you don't see them unless she gets pissed off or she's using her powers.
Yeah, that's true.
Because she controls the weather
I
and
see.
she does something else. I forgot what else she does.
She doesn't just do lightning. She does like all weather.
Hmm. Like if she wanted to, she can create a tornado.
That's cool. Um, hmm. Well, if we're thinking in the comic book worlds, I feel like using a font that's like comic book related would probably be the right way to go so that people kind of had that.
Yeah.
There we go. Store. Let's say. Do you use Pinterest?
Yes, I love it.
I do too. I use Pinterest a lot for brainstorming. I will look things up on Google too, but like Google never has anything good, I feel like.
I don't use it when it comes to art, but I use it for nails. Like what design I want my nails or what color.
Pinterest?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Yep. I just see I look up like a whole bunch of different, let's see, like patterns and stuff.
Okay.
Um, I like to find different stuff on here and then I'll make a like a Pinterest board of all the things that I'm interested in. And I like that. Dance in the Storm. This is a cool one.
You.
Um, and I'll just save things that I like so that I can go back to it and be like, okay, well, this is an element of what I liked from this one, and then what I disliked from this one. It's very handy. Um, I like this one too. It's just like simple and fun. Surge.
Especially like when you do the lightning bolt and you can make that lightning bolt into a letter.
Right. Yeah, that could definitely be a brainstorm. Ooh, this one's kind of cool too. I liked the
The M could be like really pointy instead of bulky. Like it can be a pointy logo.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like this is kind of a neat, like geometric but simple kind of shape. That would be cool. Why is it's giving me ads for names, sweatshirts with my last name on it? That's very strange. Um, I'm like, what is this? I don't even know what's going on here. They have these weird ads that kind of sneak in. This one's kind of cool. Storm. Let's see, Storm from X-Men. Oh, neat. I love that kind of like black and white drawing style. So
I
nice.
love her with a mohawk. I just love
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I do too. Like that would
Oh,
be
yeah.
the logo. Something like that. Like this one more, the side of the head. Go so deep in Pinterest, just like so many things. Ooh, this is a cool one.
Oh, nice.
Why is Han Solo here?
Why is Zuko there? Like, what is going
Yeah, I don't understand. Why are these weird people here?
on?
No,
Chloe and Haley. Like, this is supposed to be Storm, not these other people.
I know, right? This kind of style is kind of cool though. Something like that. I find it very difficult to make a logo around something that I don't understand the context of.
Oh, you're not an X-Men fan?
No, no, no. Well, I know X-Men, yes, but like, I don't know. Why are we making a logo for Storm?
Uh, I
I know
guess
it's
for
fun
the group.
exercise, but it's so even like it was hard for me to make like a vision board without having my logo for
Yeah.
my project. I found that very difficult. Um, it just doesn't, I don't know, in my mind, I feel like that is kind of like the gateway to your brand. And so that kind of comes to me in the process of making visuals. So it's all kind of related. And it's to do the one before the other was kind of a weird, I don't know if you felt like that, but
Yeah, I brainstormed a lot during the vision board process.
yeah, yeah, me too. Um, yeah, but it was just kind of, it was a weird way for me to work. It was like the opposite of what I would normally do. Which, yeah, which is
Yeah.
fine. Like it's always good to be challenged to do something different or in a different way, especially because like when you work with clients, they're not going to ask you to do the same thing or the way that you want to do it. It's like they definitely throw random things at you where you're like, what? Why? I don't understand.
Oh,
Don't
he said he doesn't want us to draw it. I was about to get out the whiteboard and start
you didn't
drawing.
want us to draw it?
I don't think so. It said you do not need to design anything. It's just a discussion. Okay.
I was
Uh,
gonna get at the whiteboard.
no.
Gotta get it out. Yeah, I really love designing logos and brands. It's like kind of where my goal of doing this is. But the interesting part is that I've learned that I'm leaning more towards an illustrator than a graphic designer, um, which is not what I expected. It's not that I like don't love graphic design, but like it's just I've been definitely doing a lot more illustration stuff and
Yeah.
working on that more and more. But yeah, and as I said, I love Procreate. It is like my jam.
I need to get back in it, but I need to actually order an Apple instead of the little one that I ordered off Amazon for like $15.
Oh, you don't have an Apple Pen?
No,
It's worth it.
it is.
Yeah, It is totally worth it. And it's also, so I have a it's called Paper Lake. It goes on your iPad and it feels like paper when you're drawing. So that you're, because when you're when I what I found at least when I'm drawing on a screen that's like super slippery, I don't really enjoy it very much and I find it to be less accurate. So since I have that, I don't think you can't see it from through the screen probably, but it's like matte. You can kind of see how it's matte.
Mhm.
And so it's textured so that when you're writing on it, it feels more like paper. So you get that
Okay.
kind of like drag and tension. Um, and that was really worth it too. It was like, I don't know how much these were, but they were definitely $30 or something. They were not cheap as screen protectors go, but it's worth it because it makes it so that I'll actually draw on it.
Yeah.
That and I don't know if you have one of these guys, but
I need to I need to get a smaller one. Like
oh,
the XP pen came with one, but my hands are so tiny, so I have to get a smaller one.
but why did your XP pen come with one? Is your screen a touch screen?
Um, the only the pen touches it. I can't do anything with my hands on it. It won't let
Yeah,
me.
that's so weird because like these are usually just for touch screens. I mean, the reason why I wear this is because when I'm drawing on my iPad, when I have my hand dragging, then it like I get a whole
It
bunch of
touches it.
random things. Yeah. So like this prevents that from happening, but my tablet is not a touch screen. And
Mm,
so mine didn't come with that. It's so strange that they sent that to you.
yeah, they sent it. It's just super, super big. Hush, talking about it's gonna end in 10 minutes. What question are we on?
The last question, we're like done.
Oh yeah, we're good. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's like it sent me this, but it's super, super big. I
Oh,
can't
yeah.
even correctly, like
Maybe it's just for like glide. I don't know.
maybe.
I think that's strange that they
I'm mad that I think I'm putting it on wrong. I know.
it goes on these two fingers. It's supposed to at least, unless it's different than my microfiber one. Um, it's supposed to
Okay,
go on your two back fingers.
back. Okay. Oh yeah, that's definitely not gonna work. I have yeah. I'm definitely gonna have to order another one.
I call it my Michael Jackson glove. Sometimes I forget that I'm wearing it and I'll like walk around and like go out to the bar, like go to the restaurant with it on. People are like, what the fuck are you wearing, Don? Like, don't worry about it, guys. I'm just a weirdo.
Just
Um,
go with it. It's okay, just go with it.
yeah, so I mean it's helpful with drawing on my iPad, but not my tablet.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, and I found that like my tablet, I have to be really careful with calibration, and
Oh
you have to
yeah.
make sure that like you're calibrating it before you use it because sometimes the pen can be really off.
Yeah.
Um, and then it's like such a pain in the butt, and you're like, where am I going? So yeah,
I
that's the
like I like the fact that we have so much technology that we can do more than one thing on.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, it is very helpful. Let's see. All right, I think we're pretty much.
Uh,
Oops. There we go. Okay, please stop. However, you stop.